and put it in special projects line where the $6,000 was budgeted at the beginning of the fiscal year. So to make sure that all is held in one place. But that's all that entailed in this amendment.
All right. Any questions? Mayor Pro Tem Kuczynski.
So the miscellaneous, the $616, where did you say that came from? Oh, no, that's the breakfast. I'm sorry.
City tax.
You said money, $7,500 from, I thought that was from Granville County Travel.
The $7,500 is from the Carter chapter of the Durham Regional Association.
Okay, yeah. When you said DRAR, I'm thinking of the DARs, and I'm like, what are we talking about?
We did receive $7,000 from Granville County early in the fiscal year.
Right.
This is a separate fund that we received.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Mr. Way? Okay. All right. At this time, I will accept a motion to approve budget amendment number 5.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. All right. We move now to finance report ending December 31st. Finance Director.
Yes, sir. So we are at our halfway mark, 6-month period. So as normal, the format is still the same, where you see general fund revenues as of December 31st, 56% collected. An item to point out, and I have pointed out before, you see we have already exceeded the original estimate for investment earnings, which is our interest income that we draw in our cash management account. We have already exceeded that, so we're estimating doubled what we was budgeted. So if you come down to the general fund expenditures, 53% expense. One item I want to point out there, the second and the final payment to the CREEDMOOR Volunteer Fire Department has been made by, it was made on December 15th, the actual due date. Come down to stormwater revenue, we're at 35% collected. For stormwater expenditures, we're sitting at 20%. If you come down to power bill, we received the second allocation in December. Power bill, that brought the power bill value to $169,464. Then if you look at your expenditures, we are sitting at 12% expense so far. That's the financial report summary.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So, Lee, where did we put the $3,500 that we gave to the fire department for their dinner? Where's that money?
That one, we didn't do a budget limit on that one.
Right.
We said we was going to take a look at it and see where we can pull the money from within the budget. I can go back and get the actual line that we said we was going to pay out of. Yes,
All right, just was wondering because I didn't see it.
Yeah, no amendment was needed because we said we just decided to take within the budget.
Okay.
Out of Mike's discretionary time.
Yeah.
Out of Mike's time. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Once again, excellent job done. Thank you. We look forward to a very profitable year coming up. Thank you. And if we don't have it, we got your name in it. All right. 9C, Resolution 2024-R-01, accepting the dedication of infrastructure in Amberley. Mr. Frangos.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Mike Frangos. I wish you a Happy New Year, too. And I think Lee stepped into a great spot, didn't he? All these estimates, exceeding it, it makes him look like a genius, like he's doing it all right. Well, I'm saying that, right, but...
Just for the interest income, we know he's behind it.
Exactly. And the power bill money, that's just all him, coming our way. You're doing it right, man, let me tell you. So, actually, talking about power bill, that was my segue. This is about accepting the dedication of infrastructure, which specifically in this case of Amberleaf is right-of-way. Powell bill compensates the city for the maintenance of rights-of-way. So in the case of Amberleaf, now that D.R. Horton is finished building homes in the entire subdivision, the water and wastewater infrastructure was accepted by Seguasa back in mid-2022, and our city staff has been out there from the beginning, inspecting and re-inspecting all of the public infrastructure that's included within the right-of-ways, as well as the stormwater. But please don't misunderstand, we are not accepting the stormwater maintenance, right? Stormwater maintenance is handled by the homeowners association. What we are accepting is the dedication of the 60-foot wide rights-of-way within the subdivision, and there's a list of those in the resolution. It includes Amberleaf Drive, East and West Brookwood Court, Spring Valley Drive, Ledgestone Drive, and Swayhorn Court. And we are accepting the maintenance of the stormwater components within the right-of-way. You know, there are several culvert pipes and outfalls and inlets along the right-of-way, including the curb and gutter, the sidewalk, and the street pavement. Specifically, we are not including the maintenance responsibility of the street trees. The street trees are out there all along this public right-of-way, but they are the responsibility of each individual property owner that abuts the street trees. So they are in their covenants specifically as their maintenance responsibility. So what this resolution does, number 2024-R01, hooray, we got the first one in for the new year, and it goes about the formal acceptance of this dedication. So when we go about executing this resolution, then we'll be able to count these streets and the linear footages toward future Powell bill allocations. So my recommendation is to go ahead and accept the resolution and accept formally the dedication of the rights-of-way.
Commissioner Wade, any questions?
No, sir, I don't have any.
Mayor Pro Tem, any questions?
You said something about the fruit trees.
Street trees.
Street trees. Kevin, would that be in their deed, that they're responsible to maintain them?
I don't know that it would be in the deed, but it should be in the likely in restricted covenants.
That's what.
So if they come to the city, we could send them back to the HOA?
Correct.
All right, that's what I'm
Right, so a
wondering.
dead street tree in the right-of-way will not cost the city a dime.
Okay,
It's their responsibility.
okay.
Commissioner Albright.
No, I have no question.
Mr. Wilkins, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, at this time, I will accept a motion to approve Resolution 2024-R-01. The motion is made by Commissioner Albright. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 4-0. All right, let's see.
What else you got for us, Mr. Franklin?
Yeah, I have a little PowerPoint, Sarah, if you could pull that one up.
Let me get
Sorry, sir.
the next.
I'm not jumping you.
All right, let's see, 9D, LSP 2021-01, Carolina Secure Storage Expansion. Mr. Frangos, thank you, I've got orders to do these.
Good evening. It is LSP 2022-01. That is not misnumbered case. This one has been open for quite some time. There was a little bit of a holdup during the approval process, specifically regarding the renderings that were required. You saw in your packet, and you'll see in the PowerPoint, that the aesthetic appearance and the rendering of the outside of the building is part of this approval. But in this case, the Board of Commissioners has the ministerial responsibility of final approval for all large site plans. This is in accordance with Article 7.7-1F of the CREEDMOOR Development Ordinance. This site plan has been reviewed by the Technical Review Committee, including Seguasa. It was amended and approved with minor revision. There was no need for additional stormwater measures because of the existing building on site and the existing impervious surface area that resulted in no net increase of impervious. There was no need for additional water and wastewater allocation. That's why you'll see that there is no request for allocation, because there is plenty of existing infrastructure in place, and the new building will not be a significant user. It is largely storage. It is just a new building for dry storage. It is a significant expansion that is on commercial land use that is located on a major arterial roadway, NC 56. Planning Board heard this at a public meeting on November the 9th. At that time, nearby property owners were notified, sent first-class individual mailed letters, and no one came to speak against the proposal. So on that night, the Planning Board unanimously recommended approval. Your staff recommends approval, and I'm just going to give you the little rundown here of exactly where we're at. So you're familiar, this is a Google picture, but you'd be in the middle of the street driving by, heading eastward. This is an aerial view of exactly the spot where the building is proposed. You can see the driveway there, and on the very, very top, that's the Food Line parking lot. Those stalls are Food Line, across NC 56. So this was Scott's review. Initially, he was concerned, and there had been existing problems. Commissioner Way, I know you know about the hydrants out there, the water distribution system, untangling that piping from the tower that had been out there. And we had a break in a hydrant out there a while back. I remember the frosted fountain. That was probably a year ago or so, where it was frozen as it was spewing. That's all been fixed. Everything's good now. So Scott approved it without any additional need for infrastructure, any additional water or wastewater components. And the new site will include a new drive that wraps around the front, and then the crosshatch area there you see is the footprint of exactly where the building will sit. It sits adjoining the existing structure, and then the parking lot there will be used as well as the new drive that wraps around. You see in the bubble right in the middle, new location of fire hydrant. Of course, that's going to be a relocated fire hydrant. So this is the existing front elevation. It's mostly a metal facade with some brick at the bottom. It's a brown brick, and it's I'm going to call it beige. I don't know if you got a good color on it, but I'll call it beige. Aluminum siding there. And this is the scale and dimension. You can notice the little farmer standing down the bottom in his overalls. That's an ordinary 6-foot-tall human on how he would look on the new western elevation. But again, they mimic the existing exterior facade treatments with the brown brick and the beige metal. Same around the east elevation. And that's the new front, which looks a lot like the old front. It's just closer to the road. And you can tell that a little bit by the shadow there on the right side near the truck. It kind of gives that illusion, the idea that the building is now closer to the road. I assure you, when it does get built, you're going to feel like it's much closer to the road, because it certainly is a big building, but it's also a very big lot and a very big site. And this is certainly the best location for an addition. It meets the industrial setback for the distance from NC 56 right away. And as you can see, it really doesn't change the exterior appearance or the aesthetic of the building. Obviously, there are no windows. There is no glazing. There is no other, way to pretty up the building. It's storage. They don't want windows. They don't want any other means of windows or windows. So it's a simple, straightforward motion, again, in your ministerial capacity to approve LSP 2022-01. And this site plan approval would be valid for a period of 1 year from this date of approval. With justification, the applicant could apply for a 1-year extension, but they would have to come back before the Board of Commission to ask that. Otherwise, the approval would be void on January 3rd, 2025. So the idea here is with a site plan, you get 1 year to get things going, break ground, and show progress toward construction. Any questions that I can answer?
Commissioner Wilkins, any questions?
None?
Commissioner Albright?
Yeah. So Mike, the only thing that they're changing is the drive in the front.
And the
Is
building.
that, and the,
And they're adding the big building.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I just didn't look right to me, but,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
And the extension is the whole length of the front of the building?
Not quite the whole length, no.
Okay.
About half.
It's just, I wasn't concerned about whether it's going on the side or the front. It seemed, I got confused about it.
No, it's on the front. We'll go back, and we could go back. Let me do it, Sarah. There we go. So there. It's not across the full front. I'm gonna take it back one more. So if you can see that little crosshatch area, it's just right in front of the area that is Carolina Secure Storage right now. There was that sign
Yeah.
that's on that facade. But the whole rest of the building to the right-hand side of your screen is going to remain unchanged.
That's why I was wondering where are all the trailers gonna go and the campers and everything else, and you put it on the side. There's so many parked there.
Right.
But I'm glad to see that they're doing such good business that you're expanding.
Yeah.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, this is good for Creedmoor, especially when there's no water and wastewater allocation and it is an expansion.
Commissioner Way, any questions?
Our ladder truck will get to the top of that building.
That's good.
They've been kind enough to let us come and do some training there.
Maybe they could put a splash pad out there.
We do have a private hydrant system.
There you go. The only question I have is how long is this gonna take?
Well, you might want to ask Boyd if he'd like to come up and address the board. I'm not sure, it's not an answer that I can have for you.
It's more a curiosity question than a specific.
Good evening, I'm Boyd Taylor, one of the owners. Typically, an expansion of this size is really dependent on the contractors that we use and the availability of the steel, but typically it's 6 to 9 months.
Okay. Now that you're about to get it approved, when would you start?
We're still going through some analysis on that, but, interest rates and price of product just continues to climb, so the sooner we can get it ordered, the better. So it could be within a couple weeks, couple months, and it could be delayed.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve LSP 2022-01, Carolina Secure Storage at Creedmoor Business Park.
So moved.
Mr. Wilkins? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Frangos, thank you for all the work you put into this.
Appreciate it.
All right. We do, if I'm correct, 9E, personnel discussion. Mayor Pro Tem.
So what I want to talk about tonight is the pay scale for employees on holidays. And I thought that I had taken care of this like 2 years ago, but apparently it didn't get done. I would like to see the employees, police department, and all employees, if you work on a holiday, I want double time. And I know that we can't do it this year because the budget's, well, if we could put it in for next year, this is something that I would like to see our this holiday season. We had employees that went above and beyond what they needed to do, and to find out that they were working during these holidays, and I always thought they got double time. So I would like us to change the policy at City Hall that if an employee, all employees, works on a holiday, they get double time. I know that if you work on a holiday, you get almost double time right now, but you don't get double time. I want to make it double time. And I know that the Leo pay scale, and I don't know if I'm going against a statute with this, Kevin. I don't know what guidelines there are for this. I know you specialize in employment law, so that's why I'm looking at you for this. I don't want to violate any laws when it comes to our police officers and our telecommunicators. So if I am, I apologize that I took up anybody's time for this, but if I'm not, I would like to see our employees get double time for working a holiday. And that's what I wanted to discuss. Oh, you've got a serious look on your face. What's the matter? We're not taking it out of your pocket.
Yeah, you are. What I would recommend on this, to give us time for Kevin to look into it, that we make this an item for our budget workshop. That way we can get everything discussed. We have plenty of time to get all the facts and everything for it and spend an appropriate amount of time. Because I do know that what we do is what the county does, Butner does. Everybody is in the same page of all this stuff as far as the amount that are given to the employees during the holidays.
I know, but I'm only speaking for Creedmoor, and that's the only issue that I am concerned about is the employees of Creedmoor. And if you giving up your holiday for the citizens of Creedmoor, I want them, and I want the personnel manual updated to reflect these changes if we decide to make them.
Mr. Wilkins.
Question for the city manager. What is our current policy?
Police officers, I'm just going to use that as an example because it would need to apply to all employees. A police officer who is not scheduled to work on a holiday gets paid the same as everyone else, 8.4 hours. If a police officer is scheduled to work a holiday, he gets paid for those 8.4 hours for the holiday, and then he gets paid for the 12-hour shift he works, or a total of 20 hours and 20.4 hours.
Isn't it? Okay.
I see the chief shaking his head, so we've talked about this.
But the city employees don't get 8.4, they just get 8.
They're getting 8, yeah. LEO gets the extra
Just
.4.
LEOs get 8.4.
So they are getting it, it's just not in
They're
there.
not getting double time.
They're getting a couple of hours short of double time, but they're getting the 8-hour paid holiday plus the hourly rate for 12 more hours for the time they work.
All right, so is that agreeable? Because I'm not going to do a motion or anything that we have instruct the city manager to put that on.
Because we'll need to run some numbers and figure out what this
That way
costs.
gives
I'm saying,
plenty of
it
time.
doesn't seem like it's gonna be a big leap to get there.
It's not.
That's why I asked the
Not
question.
for the police department gonna be as far as our employee, and like if Public Works gets called in on a holiday, they should be getting double time. If they're home celebrating
Yeah,
a holiday,
I don't
they
disagree
have to
with
their
you.
house and come in.
Okay.
I want them to get double time.
So, Mr. Mayor, you're right, let's crunch the numbers and.
Yeah. So if that's okay with everybody, we'll have it on our agenda, our budget workshop. Okay, anything else on that? Okay. We move down to item 10A, discussion items, CREEDMOOR Village update. Mr. Frangos.
Good evening again. So I'm not here with the final approval for CREEDMOOR Village because we still have issues. There's still conditions that are not agreeable to both parties. In what's required for a conditional zoning approval process, there are the 4 components that are required. One is the conceptual site plan. 2 is a mutually agreed upon list of conditions. The 3rd is a resolution of consistency and reasonableness. And the 4th is an ordinance actually amending the official zoning map. I think we're pretty good on 3 out of 4 of those. We're missing the conditions, which I talked about, which is where, the real nuts and bolts of the approval lie. And that's where we can get very specific with the applicant regarding, our expectations and their expectations. So when this agenda went out, and I think in this agenda packet, we have version 5 of the conditions that have been included, right?
Yes,
It's 5, okay. So I showed Darren Coons 5, he saw it as part of this agenda package, and he quivered. Because essentially what the issue is right now for developers is they're not ready to mobilize. The cost of money is too high right now. They can't fund the construction of their own projects easily enough. Aaron's not a guy that can just reach on into his pocket and throw down a couple of million and just start building. So it takes money to build money. And right now, they're worried about the cost of money. And of course, with true value, they're worried about the state of Seguasa and the delivery date of the water and wastewater allocation. The idea that water and wastewater allocation may be delayed, and that there could be, things out of their control which jeopardizes them to be able to sell their project. Obviously, Darren is not a builder. Mr. Coons is not any kind of builder. He's a developer. He's the kind of person that's going to take these entitlements and sell them to people to actually come in and build the multifamily apartment complex or the townhomes or the commercial or otherwise. So he doesn't want to jump too far ahead. He doesn't want to be locked into a time frame that he can't meet and risk losing the approval and what he's gone through this far. So specifically, some of the milestones that I had laid out in your packet, which you see at the 3-year mark, the 4-year mark, and the 5-year mark, those were real trouble for him.
Yeah.
And he said, these are things that are going to be difficult for me to meet, and if I miss one, then I'm off track, and we've started to stumble. He doesn't want to stumble. So I have some others that we've talked about, he and I specifically talked about, and I'm going to run some of these by you. Again, we're just kind of doing it for consensus. Feel free to stop me at any point, and we'll discuss issues, but we've tried to take it one step back. And from that I say, the site, the way it sits out there today, I've told them it's a disheveled mess. We need to clean it up, right? So the very first thing I've told them is, hey, if you got this approval, you got to get out there and secure the site, replace the vehicular barrier that was in place off of the NC 56 and the boulevard, because there's lots of dumping back there that's happened recently, and he 100% agrees. But that fence had been up probably for 4 or 5 years, but of course over time it did get torn down and it fell into disrepair. He wants to do things like provide a dynamic flow analysis of his water and wastewater needs. This is the very, very first step that a developer would bring to Seguasa and say, I expect 600 units of this and this many square feet of that, and I expect my number to be X plus Y plus Z is my total of need. I don't think he even knows that today. With the conceptual site plan, certainly you could put down a number, but he doesn't have a true, what Scott even called, and this is a technical term, dynamic flow analysis of the water and wastewater needs to Seguasa. And then he would be able to provide, and this is something that they are still working on right now, a detailed stream delineation study. Because there is, as you know, a new riparian buffer, a tributary that crosses the property, and they would need to obviously clearly delineate that. The surveying from that is old, and the maps from that are old, so that would need to be updated. Mix that in with a project identification sign, and a name, and a contact number that they would put on a board out front, and then I said, you promise somebody will answer that phone when people call? And he said, yes, we're going to have it to our real estate office. So there are some basic kind of points that he's definitely willing to commit to in the next, let's say, 24 months. 24 months from today, the date of approval. We use that because that's when we think Seguasa is going to really have a much, much better idea. And the progress of the I-85 Interceptor project will hopefully, with fingers crossed, be well underway, so that the delivery date of the connection point can be more readily identified. And then he's willing to jump into more of these sketch plan, traffic impact analysis, subdivision plat, stormwater management plan, some of those more detailed engineering, costly components of a development like this. So he wants to break it up into 2 packages, one of them which we're going to kind of call site progress points, And then another milestone would be something like development progress points. This is what he's hoping that the board would be okay with. Haven't finalized the wording. I wanted to obviously bring it to you all before we finalized anything, but these are the things that he and I talked about in our meeting we had. It was back right before Christmas. It might have been on the 19th or the 20th of December. Again, after this agenda package went out, that he came in to talk to me about what he'd want to see different. So I don't know, does anybody have a challenge with that? Is there something you think we can do differently, do better? You don't like it, you like it?
Commissioner Way, any questions? Okay. Commissioner Albright?
I think it was a good idea that we put these, not actions, but these things in place, you know, to give him what we wanted. You know, because there is a lot of, you know, like he said, there is a lot of, not turmoil, but there's a lot of things out there, like building, you know, wood's not ready, you know, people are short with staff, you know, those types of things that I think are really big issues at the moment. But I think it's really good that we had these terms in place that we said, you know, this is what he needs, because he's kind of like, now he has to get just the general things in place, which you would think that he would have, being a builder and developer. You think that he should have already known those to be something that he should have suggested that he could do now before he started on the big market thing.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm just saying, you know, just something to...
He just can't be, he feels that he doesn't want to risk being held to the 5-year limit with his feet to the fire. You know, he wants to be able to have some incremental steps to reassure you all that he's not going away. Because really, again, he's been here for 5 or 6 years that he's on this property, he's not going away. But the market just still isn't ready. You know, there are lots of hurdles that still need to be crossed. So I think this whole project is a great thing for Creedmoor, and I don't think I've ever given y'all misguided information about it. I think this is great. This is exactly the kind of development we want, and we don't want to chase him away. He's a good developer that's here for Creedmoor's benefit, and in the long run, he's going to succeed when we succeed. So this is a way just to help him a little bit more. We're still keeping him locked tight up under the approval, but we're giving him just a little bit more breathing room on the front end, with milestones still in place. That we could still hold him to, that the approval would still be voided by action of this board if he didn't meet those milestones, right? You could come back in 24 months and say, you haven't done a darn thing. You're out. We're just pulling the approval, and that could be that.
I maybe wish that we would have done these things to some other
Yes.
projects.
You're right.
You know, and I think maybe going forward, these are good things that we need to keep in mind.
Conditional zoning is what lets us do this, though, in this way. Conditional zoning is a specific approval process that gives us this power.
If you recall, this is a huge improvement. I know that there was one prospective project 6 months ago where we had quite a bit of trouble trying to explain that the CDO already includes, you know, this conditional zoning tool, which allows the developer to ask for an entitlement and to ask for some flexibility about milestones and the vesting period for that entitlement. I think this is a huge improvement over where we were with, you know, another project. You know, seeing a developer that's actually willing to work with the city with the processes and the tools that we already have in place to figure out something that it was a benefit to the city, that gives the city some security and some assurance in terms of what will eventually be delivered, but also gives the developer some flexibility in terms of working in kind of this market.
So, because it's like Mike said, you know, we're not chasing them away.
Right.
But we just want things to be done the right way, because you want the people to come to Creedmoor. You want different lifestyles and different people to live here. But you also have to have the right things in place. And I want these new subdivisions and things to be a place that, you know, Rob says, Creedmoor took their time and really did a great place. The subdivision is beautiful. You know, that's what I hope that, all of us being together, working on these things and taking one, thing at a time, not jumping into something, that we make these subdivisions beautiful, that people come and then they stay here for a long time and really, add to our community.
So again, conditional zoning gives us that power. Ordinary subdivisions, we're not as authoritative in our ability. Well, I'll call it out. We're in public here. I'm calling out Brains Crossing, right? We didn't have these kind of conditions. You tried not to. You wanted to be nice.
I was trying to tell Kevin that.
We didn't have this power.
tried to be polite.
We didn't have the power of conditional approval. Subdivision approval is a property right. We simply, if they comply, we give them the approval. We don't have this extra authority. What this is the real nuts and bolts, like I said, of being able to craft an approval specifically to a project. And that's what
And
conditional
crafting,
zoning.
that's a good thing. We should all kind of remember that, that we want these subdivisions to be a craft of CREEDMOOR, and a little bit of all of us that, we really want these things to look beautiful when people come and move here, so.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Mr. Frankos, I believe you have this well in hand, sir. I'm good.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
My little highlighter.
I did.
So, Mike, I have a question. Under item number 10, it says 2 5-foot wide sidewalks on all streets. Is that 2 because it's on each side of the street?
Correct.
Okay.
On
And
the internal streets,
on the internal street?
they'll be on both sides, yes.
Okay, yeah, not on 56. And the other thing is on item number 11, it says maximum driveway width 12 feet. Is that our rule? Because the average car is 12 feet wide.
No, it's not.
8 feet wide, 8 feet wide.
Tractor trailer.
Yeah, maybe it's something like a tractor, something big. These are intended to be 2-car driveways.
Okay.
The way, if you remember, I don't have the site plan with us, they gave us that little excerpt of the blow-up.
Yeah.
They're intended to be 2-car garages with 2-car driveways directly in front of them. So really could accommodate 4 vehicles, 2 inside and 2 outside, on your parcel of the townhome.
Okay.
So, I'm saying 12, I think the other one includes still 12. Yeah, they said they could do it with 12.
Okay.
They said they could do it with 12.
So then under the amenities, they've got a dog park. So once this is approved or passed by us, does that hold their feet to the fire that they must put a dog park in?
When it comes to we'll get down to that point of site plan approval for let's say the multifamily, which is where they'll show us those amenities. They'll show us the clubhouse. They'll show us maybe their in-ground pool, or I don't remember exactly the wording. Pool, fitness center, resident courtyard, outdoor kitchen, et cetera. And the dog park is part of that.
So it says a mailbox kiosk for residents, apparently at the clubhouse.
Yep,
And then a mailbox kiosk on track B.
which is the townhomes. So you wouldn't want the folks who live in the townhomes have to go up to the clubhouse for the
No.
multifamily. You'd want them to have.
Unless they walk past the dog park.
Well, and potentially, you might want to put the dog park closer to the townhomes. I'm not really sure where they'll put it, but they'll be back with that.
Is that something we have control over? Where they put the dog park? It's not our...
Ultimately, in the site plan approval, you'll review it. You'll have an opportunity to see where they plan to do it. You might say, I don't think that's a good idea. Maybe you should move it over here, closer this way or that way.
Okay.
That's up to us during our review.
The dog park concerns me because it's a liability. I'm not in favor of dog parks. Well, I'd love to see one in the city, but it would be a liability issue for us.
No, it's the owner's liability, whether it be the HOA or the renters association.
Well, not if the city puts the dog park in, that's what I'm
This is not
saying.
gonna be ours.
No, this is not gonna be ours, but I'm saying for us to do it, which people have asked.
Oh, sure.
If I remember correctly, down at Lake Rogers, we were talking about it.
Yes, yeah, you talk about it, yeah.
Sure, Anderson.
All right. As always, Mr. Frangos, excellent job.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
I'll recraft this and we'll be back at a later date. It's a new version.
So hang on. I forgot I was supposed to come back. Mr. Way.
Mr. Frangos, when you were beginning your conversation on this, we were talking about him coming in to do some cleaning up and stuff like that. He said he's willing to come do that now, to go ahead and get started on it.
Oh, yeah.
So when did we anticipate him doing the
Oh, you mean-
to start?
Well, he wants it to kind of be part of the approval, right? That was kind of, he wants it to be a component of the approval. I think he knows he has to do it, and he wants to build that fence up, but he wants to get credit for it. So he wants it to be one of these milestone points where he can show you all that once it's approved, look at all these things that I'm doing. I'm gonna put the fence back up, I'm gonna put up the project sign, and have it pretty good.
Well, putting it up and put up a fence and a project sign, and shows me you have good faith effort to do what you were gonna say you were doing.
Okay?
That's a good point.
You'd like me to ask him that?
I mean, we've already, look at the problems we've run into with other developments.
I would be reluctant to do that.
City attorney.
We want to be very clear.
Who invited him?
We want to be very clear that this is not a contract zoning situation.
Oh, no, it's not a contract
Where
zoning.
we are conditioning approval on him undertaking certain, action in return for potential
Approval.
zoning approval.
No, by no means.
Quid pro quo, is that what we're talking about?
This is not a
No. We're not approving, we're not approving any zoning issues tonight, we're not.
I think what we're
That was
saying is
just
that
a
we'd
general
love
statement.
to see some work done out there.
I'd love to see some flowers.
As a good steward of the land.
Yeah.
Good
He has
neighbor.
cleaned up a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah,
good neighbor.
certainly not a lot.
Just be a good neighbor.
We'll take that into account, yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That takes me a minute.
So this is a question, Chief, do we patrol out there where this development is going? Do we patrol in there? Do we know if anybody's living in there on that land?
Good question.
I just was wondering if there's any homeless people living out there. If he starts cleaning up, he's gonna throw somebody out of there, and then we're gonna have to get involved.
Is that true? Do you know that there is somebody living
No,
there?
I don't know.
Oh. I've never seen evidence.
Well, that's, when the barrier came down, rope, gate, chain, whatever it was, that was my first thought, was people were going back there, and then I was thinking it could be homeless people living back there. So that is my concern.
Be a good parking place.
Oh, I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there. You're showing your age.
Hey, that's what I do. All right, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, we move to 11A, Manager's Report.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, in addition to the reports you've gotten from all the department heads, I have a few additional comments. Last month, City Finance Director Lee Faines completed the North Carolina Finance Officer Certification Program. And I believe this is about a 2-year program. There are stringent criteria to apply, and an applicant must successfully complete 4 exams to receive this certification. They are governmental accounting and finance, cash management and investment of public funds, budgeting and capital finance, financial and supervisory management tied to fundamental supervisory practices. At the next conference that this group has, he will be presented his certificate, but he has completed all the program requirements, and let me say we're very proud of Lee for doing that. You've already heard the mention of the $1,000 donation from the Granville County Veterans Affairs for CREEDMOOR. County Veterans Affairs Committee decided to invest in and support this veteran cause in southern Granville County, and I made the request and they approved it, and I'm thankful that we're seeing a little bit of recognition by a county committee in the southern end of the county. Yes. Inventory for community, the CREEDMOOR Community Center, Lake Rogers, has been completed and is being signed over to the new Parks and Rec Director, Dennis Mishaw. Lee also mentioned in his presentation the second and final 6-month payment to the fire department for fire service and rescue agreement for 2024 was hand-delivered to the chief by myself on December 15th, 2023. Really was glad to see me that day. And the last thing I'd like to add is, next Friday the 12th, we have an interview scheduled for the Granville County Shared Grant Writer. I will be participating in the interview panel for that. So that's good news. We're moving forward. It's taking a little bit longer than the county anticipated, but that's where we are today, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any questions of the city manager? All right, we'll move on to Seguasa report. Mayor Pro Tem.
Seguasa's last meeting was very short. We had swearing in of officers, or of, re-elected commissioners, and, Mr. McKellar it was the first meeting that Mr. McKellar not there? He wasn't there.
No, he wasn't.
But Vicki Daniels came and she got sworn in. So it was very ceremonial and it had project updates. We talked about, there was a allocation policy on the agenda, but it was not supposed to be on the agenda. What was supposed to be on the agenda was a different item, that we talked about. We went into closed session to system development fees, and we went into closed session to further discuss that. I think the allocation policy will be coming up in the February meeting. But I know that it's a number that the city is looking forward to finding out where we are with this. So I have pushed it a little harder than I probably should, but I know we need a number and we need to know what we're doing.
Commissioner Wade, anything you'd like to add?
It was a short meeting because Director Schroeder was out sick, so there was some things we just couldn't go over. Mayor Pro Tem Zinsky is, our next Seguasa meeting, one of the things we're going to talk about relating to us is the updates and system improvements to our Lake Rogers booster pump station. So we're going to see if we can get some information finalized, because that is one of the Seguasa high priority, high impact projects that we've approved with Seguasa to get repaired at the booster station there.
Any questions for our Seguasa representatives? All right.
Cadillac had no wheels when we bought that booster station.
Commissioner's report. Let's start with Commissioner Way.
Over the holiday period, there was countless wonderful activities, from church services to community get-togethers, parades, parties. There's so many things to list. It's just a very thankful season. I got to escort Santa around our wonderful community, so it's always a highlight of mine every year that I look forward to, waving at everybody. Happy New Year, and looking forward to continuing on with this board as we move this community forward another few more years.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wilkins.
Echoing what Commissioner Wade said, I attended the Christmas tree lighting on the 1st of December and participated in the Christmas parade on the 2nd. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
So December really was very busy for the whole city. And first thing I'm going to do is address an issue that was on social media last week. Mr. Clint Owens posted that Creedmoor was going to annex Wilton. Let me assure you that this is not true. Wilton is not a municipality, and there is no involuntary annexation allowed in this state. What does that mean? It means that every resident of Wilton would have to individually ask the city of Creedmoor to annex them. Also, there was not a post office there in the last few years. I moved into the Wilton area in 1987, and there was no post office then, and I was told by a store owner that a post office got blown down in a hurricane back in the 60s. One more thing, the Creedmoor PD is not patrolling that area at all. If you have questions about the Creedmoor government or the police department, we ask that you call the City Hall or email City Hall, and we'll be glad to answer your questions. During the Christmas holiday, our local police department has done so much for this community, and I can't stop myself when it comes to the police department, so you're gonna all have to deal with this. The police department made an angel tree, and there were 37 senior households in Creedmoor that were served on this angel tree. Never been done before. Once the announcements went out, the angels were taken by so many generous citizens that no more were left. All gifts were brought to the PD. Our police officers, I believe they wrapped and delivered the gifts to those seniors and gave them a Merry Christmas. This has not been done before, and it was a great success. And I'm so proud that our police department did this. Then there was Shop with a Cop, with more children than ever got to shop and have lunch, wrap presents for their family, and the donations that made this possible come from the proceeds of the music festival. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager? That's where some of the money comes from, the music festival, for Shop with a Cop, plus donations, private donations.
Not music. The parade.
The parade, yeah. On a sad note, Creedmoor lost 2 citizens during this period of time. Our police responded to one call of a woman who had collapsed. CPR was given at the scene and all available police responded, including the chief, until paramedics arrived. She was resuscitated at the scene and transported to a hospital where she later passed away. Also, a good neighbor called in and asked for a wellness check done on a neighbor who they had not seen for a while. Our police officers went in and found the occupant, who was deceased upon entering. Our police officers have feelings, and these incidents touch them as much as anyone else. Let's try to remember that when you see them, and perhaps thank them for all that they do. We had a very successful tree lighting at the Willow Oak Room. It was standing room only. Due to the weather, we moved it inside. First Baptist Church of Creedmoor's children and the Holy School Chorus did a great job of entertaining us, and of course, there was Santa. We also had a great Christmas parade, 57 entries, including a float for the city staff and officials, and I want to thank all the city staff that attended that and rode on the float with us. It is an awesome picture. I would love to have an 8x10 canvas hung in City Hall somewhere. It was wonderful to be together for that. The weather was not the best, but we appreciate all the citizens that came out to celebrate with us. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday, but now it's time to go back to work. We have been blessed with a new shop on Main Street. Wilma's Garden Boutique is open. Stop by and shop. Soon to come, Sunshine on Main Street, Deli and Cafe will open. And the old mill on the corner of Elm and Fleming, is that Fleming? Yes. Fleming was sold. We don't know what's going to be there, but we are waiting with bated breath. Last but not least, Yakima's Steakhouse and Seafood will be opening soon. Creedmoor is starting to buzz. Please stand by. Wake up, I'm done.
You did most of mine. Commissioner Albright.
I went to Cookies with a Cop, which was a lot of fun. And I wanted to thank all the stores in the city of Creedmoor for participating in our new holiday event for decorating the windows and the storefronts. I had the pleasure of going with Angie to Gilman Florist and presenting her with her gift card that she won for the prettiest window. So hopefully we can continue to do that. And what else was I supposed to? Yeah, that was it.
Don't read that.
But yeah, I had a good time, and, Christmas was lovely, and I had enjoyed everything that I intended over the holiday, and getting to see all of you, and especially Santa down there, Robert. I thought that's a great time. I know, it just tickles all the little kids, even the neighbors and everything. We were all out in the porch yelling and carrying on, so it was a great time. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think I got everybody. Mayor's report, what the Mayor Pro Tem said.
No.
Pretty much covered everything. Yes, I was very pleased. My folks at CREEDMOOR Drug were real excited about the window contest. And it's been a while since CREEDMOOR looked that bright and festive all up and down Main Street. We've always had a couple of businesses that did that, but that was definitely well done.
One of the shop owners was trying to buy boats.
Oh, I've had them do that too. And Chief, what you have done with this police department and their community outreach, is applauded, appreciated. You have big shoes to fill, and let me say that you have done an excellent job in that direction.
1 year.
Well, you got pretty big feet anyway, so.
1 year today.
Has it been that long?
Happy
But anyway,
1 year anniversary.
wanted to, thank you and tell your department that we are above impressed. Especially, Jessica. That way I get family credit for, yeah, and the cookie with the cop.
Yeah, that was fun.
My littlest grandson went around with a bag of chips, passing them out to everybody in there. I think, Varn got caught, he got like 3 pieces of chips, but anyway, my kids really enjoyed it and so did all those other kids. I helped him with his a little bit. All right, is there anything else needs to come before the board? Mayor Pro Tem.
Happy anniversary, Chief.
Yep.
1 year today.
Yep. Yay.
Anything down at this end? Anything down at this end?
Do we still need to do the closed session?
Yes. All right, at this time, and, Mr. Frangos, I'm gonna ask you to remain for the closed session. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. Commissioner Way makes the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no.